welcome everyone to Devils United. Today I have got Andy for a very special episode about the football. Is it Champions League or is it going to be a bus season if not? So it's a lot to go into. How are you, Andy?
I'm good. Yeah, obviously. Nice to have the stage to myself. No, I'm only joking. Always good to be on. Obviously, Chloe is on holiday, hence why it is just me and you. But yeah, a lot to get into. I'll try and be nice about the person in your thumbnail. Start as I mean to go on and all that.
He had to be on the thumbnail. It's about him. But looking at the thumbnail, he isn't looking overly amused, to be honest. He looks pretty angry.
Yeah, well, this is it. Maybe it's practicing the bust face if that's what happens at the end of the year.
Yep, it could be. Good evening, Tom. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Good evening to Ravi. Hope you're well. Andy started the show. He sure is. So, me and you behind stage, we did of course put on our own lineup, and we'll go through it one by one. Good evening to my queen as well. I hope you're well. So should we go through yours first or should we go through mine first?
Yours is probably closer to the reality, but let's do mine first, and then you can see what the grown-ups actually know.
So this is the one what we think is our strongest 11 and what maybe Matt Skinner could pick. Who knows? But Matt Skinner's just unpredictable. He does make some wacky decisions.
Yeah.
So let's go through yours first. We both kept with that 4-2-3-1 formation. But we've got Mary Earps in goal. Obvious one is, of course. The back four, we've got Hannah Blundell, Millie Turner, Maya Letitia, Anna Baget. So that's a solid, strong back four. In the pivot, got Hayley Ladd, Jackie Gronan. In the three, we have got Lucia Garcia, Ella Toon, and Adriana Leon. So two of the new signings in the wing option, and up front, Alessia Russo. So what's your thinking behind this lineup, Andy?
Well, first of all, I appreciate it's pretty much the closest to a fantasy we're going to get because there's no way Skinner's going to drop Zelen. I understand that. But I'm never going to see what she brings, to be honest, if I'm honest. But I think, we'll start at the top, really. It's easier to start with is Mary. I mean, obviously, probably is literally the definition of first name on the team sheet. Obviously, you look back at this time last year and it's quite interesting because some of us were like, wonder what Sophie Bagley's going to do. Is she going to nip at Mary's heels? Coming in, is she going to challenge her for the number one jersey, as the Americans would say? And no, it was not even close, was it? And obviously, she built on through the season, built her confidence, got into the Lionesses, found the number one jersey for the Lionesses, and is now European champion. It literally is a definition of a no-brainer. I'm looking forward to seeing her this season develop a bit further and have that confidence. She still can be a bit jittery. A couple of jittery moments in the final game we both did a watch long on, actually, for the Everton game. Possibly because it was a friendly, it was at Carrington. She kind of switched off. So that's the only sort of thing I would say moving into the season I'd be a bit concerned about. And sort of going from left to right, then left back Hannah Blundell. Now, Hannah Blundell, I'll be honest, is only there because we haven't got anybody else. I don't know how we've ended up with a lot of centre backs. If you look at people's preferred positions, I did a bit of research on it. I know she had periods of time where she did very well last season coming from Chelsea. If you remember, she was...
Especially at the start. I think the turning point for Hannah Blundell was, sorry to interrupt, was that FA Cup loss against Man City. I think that was a turning point for Hannah Blundell, and I can't really think of many good performances since.
Exactly, and she's lost a lot of confidence, and I appreciate, it sometimes you have to play through confidence, but just when we'll get to the surprise omission of Leah Galton later in the sort of discussion. I think the problem is that a lot of our, and it's a great problem to have, it's exactly what United should be, is that most of our team now had a busy summer. Most of our team were involved in the Euros. So they've got form, they've got film, as the Americans would say, they've got evidence that you can look at. People like Leah Galton haven't kicked a ball since May. I know they did a bit of pre-season, but same with Hannah. When you're out the international scene, you are running the risk to struggle to fight your way back in when it starts again in September. So I've seen she's got some good pace down the wing. She's just very, very jittery and very nervous. And quite easy to sort of get her head down if it's a difficult game. I'm thinking particularly of games against Chelsea, her old club as well. So what I would do if Mannion was fit is I'd have Maya in Hannah's position and Mannion as the other centre back, because apparently she can play left
both,
wing. Yeah. Well, actually, the way around. Actually, she's right wing, so I'd have to move Honor to left wing and have Mannion in the middle. Obviously, Amy Turner, gives us some height, which is something we've always struggled with, and great to see her back, and is a very strong position, and obviously Maya Letitia, signing of the summer, really, isn't it, Maisy? I think.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to show our faces as well, because we have shown our faces for a bit. But okay. Yeah, 100%. Maya Letitia is a signing what I thought was incredible. About 50k we bought her for, and she's only 19. If she really wanted, she could be at Manchester United for the rest of her career. If she really wanted, she's that young, we could easily get 10 years out of her. She's very versatile. She can go in different positions. That we've seen in Brighton. Brighton changed their formation quite a lot. We've seen her as a centre back. We've seen her as a full back. So you know where she could fit. Young Player of the Year for Brighton. She was shortlisted as well for the WSL Short Player of the Year. Young Player of the Year. So that really shows the potential she really has. And the way she plays, if she plays well for us this season, I can't see why there's no reason why she couldn't compete with the likes of Jess Carter and Demi Stokes for that England position.
Yeah, I mean, obviously as well, I think she's also under 19s captain for England at the moment as well. So yes. she is knocking on that door. I agree. It might be that this is the litmus test, really. It's funny to wonder what was in Mark's mind. I think that's a good statement for most things, really. But I just wonder to think what was in Mark's mind. Did he see her as a backup, or did he actually see her as a player that was going to start? I think based on what we've seen pre-season, she's a player that's going to start. And I don't know if that's a surprise. Hopefully it is a nice surprise. I mean, you would think possibly he was leaning towards him being a starter, because you don't pay for backups in this league, because only recently you've started paying for new starters, for starting players. So to pay the release cost from Brighton is a no-brainer. And and I think she's got some fantastic skills. I was thinking, I think it was the first game in Toulouse where she made this fantastic sliding tackle, last gas tackle, perfectly timed. You mess that up, you run a risk of a card. It's very, very tough, and perfect time, and great attitude and atmosphere. And as you say, you have the opportunity to be a long-term member for the team and for the club, and perfect timing, really, because another person that was missed was Maya Torres-Dottier, Maria even, and she's very wobbly. I mean, she was very wobbly at the end of last season. And then, of course, England went and spanked Norway to the point where I think most Norwegians still wake up and have nightmares over that game that were involved in it. And I don't think she's got her confidence back. And in the centre-back position, you need to be pretty strong. You're the last line of defence before the goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. So I think really now she's definitely a solid bench player. And it may only just be youth or making sure that she's going to fight her way back in, is what I'm saying. I think.
The difference is, though, with Maria compared to this season and last season, there was no competition there for Maria because she knew Millie Turner and Mannion was out, so she started regardless. Doesn't matter if she puts a solid 0 performance in because she knows she's going to get back in the week
Reminds
after.
me of somebody else with eyelashes.
Yeah, it reminds me of someone else as well, but that's the thing because there was no competition there. She could think, right, see, I can just go back in. I'm an instant starter, so what does it matter? I'm not saying she would have thought that,
I mean,
but
she's
some
a
players,
professional. I mean, to be fair, I
yeah,
don't know. Obviously, I don't know her. We all talk about them as players only. I mean, there's a few we've spoken to. We only get an idea of character. We don't know
yeah.
them. And I think she's a really nice lady. I know someone who actually lives quite near her and walks a dog occasionally with them. But some people have their own ceiling, and you could argue that her ceiling was never really going to be a top 4 starter in the WSL. And she got the opportunity because of the injuries last season, and she did wobble. She could stabilize again. I think mainly of Leah Galton last year. You know, massive fan of Leah Galton. One of my shirts has got her name on it, but she couldn't hit a barn door between September and December. But then suddenly she came really strong in the first quarter of this year, January, February, March. So maybe she'll fight her way back. But I definitely think that the future maybe has arrived in Maya this year.
100%. I've got your lineup back up if you want to continue
Honor,
talking about it.
Honor. I mean, well, what do you say about Honor? I mean, you know, Skinner needs to. I don't understand what the discussion is. What you do is you say to Honor, you say, "Great to see you. Sit down. Here's a blank piece of paper and a pen. Write down what you want, and we'll give it you." That's literally.
I really think so.
Should be the conversation.
And we should do that about another one who's in your starting 11, which you'll touch on later.
Yeah, we'll get that definitely. I mean, obviously, Donny's mentioned there about Champions League. I mean, we're going to break into it in a bigger, more detail. Obviously, once we've gone through our lineups, I think that without Champions League, our team next year looks totally different. And I would say, looking at my squad, possibly as much as 4 or 5 people won't be there if we're not in Champions League.
I must agree.
And that's scary to think of. But you know, we'll get into the nuance of that. But Honor, I mean, you know, you forget how young she is. I mean, you know, no
22, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she might even be. Oh yeah, she's just turned 22. I think she is.
She's 23.
Yeah, she just turned 23. Sorry, in June. Well, this is it, and it's like, you know, she's been in the UK for 2 years. She moved in a pandemic. She was in a foreign country, no fans, no nothing. You know, she's had to grow up very quickly, and you know, she's a real mature head. But as we've discussed at length before on certain other podcasts, on pods we've done together, is she lives and bleeds Barcelona, in the sense of she's born in Catalan. So it very much depends, but I would hope that she's 23. She could, if she wants to go to Barcelona, she can do that to 28 to 31 or whatever. I want her for a bit longer. She is an attacking threat. She scored against Reading. We'll go into our preview on that.
She loves Reading.
In the week. You know, she's a great leader, fantastic skill player. You know, she's the reason why I went all the way down to Brentford and watched Germany, Spain, and she's our best player on the pitch, possibly with the exception of Russo. They're very, very close together in skill set, and they're both pivotal things we need to keep hold of next year.
Yeah. Want to talk about your midfield as well?
Yeah. This is where we start. This is where I start making friends, as I always like to do. One of the interesting things is if you look at the squad, if you look at the squad list on the Man United website, basically, you know, it's like everybody's a midfielder. We've got a couple of goalkeepers, a few attackers, and midfield's like that big. You know, it's massive. You know, it's so yeah. I was going to say you can see it. It's you know, it's like a block of players there. And if you go back onto the thing, obviously in reality, Skinner's never going to drop Zelen, but I think, So I would probably put Zellum in where I put Lad. But sticking to what the strongest team is, I think Lad is the most natural defensive midfielder that we've got. She adds that physicality, and she doesn't get flustered. That's the key thing. There's a few other players in the team possibly that will make the miss kick, that will run and do a foul or whatever. She's pretty neutral.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
Considering she's pretty small, she's very good in the air.
Yeah, well, it's all about momentum, isn't it? It's throwing your body up. It's jumping at the right time, as any coach would say. And I would say possibly if you are a bit like I'm over 6 foot, so if I'm on the field, I might be a bit lazy ass when it comes to jumping because I'm already halfway there. But if you're 5 foot 1 or 2 or 3, you've got to learn exactly when to jump. Otherwise, you ain't going to get there. And I think sometimes that's how some of the smaller players get around it. And sometimes, how many times you watched a game and you can see, wow, that little attacker has just got the ball off that dead tall defender because they've jumped at the right time and the defender's been a bit lazy or something like that. And I think it's possibly technique. Jackie, well, I mean, she's brilliant. You watch Jackie in Netherlands, and she is as good as on her in a position. Her technical ability is superb, and she's got that. She lives and believes the club. As Chloe and others have mentioned. She took a chance on us when we were a nobody. It was the first game in the first season in the WSL. We kind of thought there wouldn't be relegation. People being Man United, but you look at some of the other teams that have come up since. Thinking most notably of Leicester, and and it was not a given. And she signed for us, and she paid. She bought into us, but she doesn't score. And I appreciate she's a defensive midfielder.
She plays more as a box-to-box midfielder, in my opinion. But for me, I just don't think the formation does any favours for her.
Possibly, and that's more the technical stuff you probably go on to because I know she features in your squad.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a weird thing because obviously, traditionally, obviously, defenders are the most less likely to score, and attackers obviously the most. But to be at her level and to have the minutes that she's had for so long, it's really amazing that she's not scored for Man United. And I don't know if she's saying if it's a confidence thing or she's being played in the wrong position or whatever. But I put her in because I think she still has to be played strongly. But she's in the final year in the contract. She's possibly in her option year this year. So she's going to have, she may be sold at the end of the year if she doesn't fit Mark Skinner's plans. But as you say, it's so hard to tell because you analyze her as a player, you see her as a player on her own. And it's a no-brainer, but sometimes she can be a bit different. So looking more towards the forwards, then obviously the midfield forwards. This is maybe where you might be surprised. I'm such a Leah Galton fan, but I've dropped her for Garcia now. Because I'm so easy to I'm such a floozy. Anything more recent, it changes me. But yeah, I've seen her play for Spain in summer. She's a great attacking threat, as Leah is as well. But just based on the fact that she's coming in on form and she's got that pace, she's a bit younger, and she's got more of an attacking threat at the minute. It's pretty damn close. But I think I would toss a coin and put Garcia in, possibly, and I don't know what your view on this is, Maisy, before I continue on the next bit, as a kind of revert, like Skinner's best Serena Weigman impression. So, in the England squad, you had Ellen White, who was the forward until she made herself knackered. And then about 60th minute in, Russo would be subbed on. I don't know what you see the opportunity of possibly having Garcia to start, but in the last 20 minutes, bringing on Galton.
That could be a good shout. Obviously, I had something different, but when I was looking at the pre-season, Matt's going to tend to use Lucia Garcia more as a substitute option.
Yeah.
I wish she came on as a substitute option. She looked electric.
Yeah, so it might be the other way around. It might be, they might be keeping Galton on and then bringing her on as a sub. But I do think she's a great talent. And as you say, I think it's pretty much 50-50.
And she needs to adapt to the league for me as well.
Yeah, she does. She does. I mean, I don't have much worry about that looking at her play in the national team, for Spain. But yeah, she does. But I think it says enough as it is. Without never playing in the WSL, she's already heads and tails. Literally, you could toss a coin level with arguably our best winger last year, in Leah Galton. So that's fantastic. Tooney, I love the picture you got there. It's her resting face, isn't it? She, she's obviously, I think she's the other like first name on the second name on the team sheet, really. My only concern about Tooney is that she's been used a lot and she's not had much rest at all. And she was knackered at the end of last season. But that's the whole reason about why we brought in people to support her. But again, I think it's a no-brainer. The way she links up with Russo, it's top of the range. It really is. It's a brilliant situation. We've got a long-term deal. She is in the position now that we should have Russo in next year. We should have, hopefully on her, but I appreciate the Catalan link next year. Long-term contract, stalwarts of the club. I'd include Millie Turner in that as well. Welcomes all the newbies, the spine of the club from head to toe, to build upon. Because obviously, don't forget, and I'm sure we'll get into this once we've done our squads, it's Mark Skinner's final guaranteed year this year. He's only got an option year after that. So he's got to bring home the bacon. Otherwise, he's going to be playing for he's going to be managing Birmingham, which, to be honest, he probably would like to do, but that's a separate matter. And then obviously the other right wing, Adriana Leon. Well, Adriana Leon. Yeah, you look at the tape, you'll see me moaning when she got signed, but she's already proved me wrong.
She's proved me wrong as well. I can see why she's been signed, let's just say.
Possibly she could be in the same position as Nikita Paris in the sense of her sort of history didn't look that brilliant, but something wasn't clicking that we can't see clearly, but the management did, or speaking to the player or the coach did. And, she's looking free. She's looking happy in her game. She scored most recently for Canada, fantastic goal against Australia. And again, I think you can't leave her out at the moment. I mean, I did consider, and maybe it will happen for some games, having Garcia on one wing, Galton on the other. I mean, at what pace that's going to be, But with her current goal scoring form, with the international team and such like, especially now that, they've come back from Australia, we've had an extra week. So, the jet lag won't be as much of an issue. You can't keep her out. But I'll tell you another thing that I thought I would never, ever, 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 ever say, ever, is I nearly put Nikita Paris in that position.
I wasn't there yet. I wasn't there.
The key word was nearly. I don't know. I mean,
I think she's more of a player to play when it comes to City, Arsenal, and Manchester City, just based off how they play. They go into the wide spaces quite a lot, and I think you need a proper natural winger to play in them kind of positions. And I think Nikita Paris is good in them kind of style of play the other teams play in terms of low block kind of teams, and that's where we use her.
Yeah, well, this is it. But also, again, this is what I can't overlook. She's got the goal. She's got goal sense. She's sniffing the goal and she's scoring. And that's, and if we play this right, we could have a team where half of the team is on goal scoring form, already, and we haven't even played the first game yet. That's what's been so interesting about the way the internationals have folded into one round of additional internationals, and obviously the first game of the season, which is now on Saturday. And then obviously the final mention is Russo. I mean, yeah, as you said earlier, with Russo, what we do is, we hand them a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper and a pen, and say, what is it that you want? And then whatever she says, you add 10% for being bloody idiots for offering her a contract before the Euros, which is a rumour, that was a bit of a low ball that she had to decline, according to what we saw. I think it was Emerson or other journalists that have reported. So it's like, don't play around. This is like, right? This is like, now what you could say, we finished this. This is like, scrimping and saving and suddenly finding the best car you've ever found. Getting a brand new car and then deciding to just, I don't know, drive it in the forest for fun. Why would you damage it? Why would you risk Russo leaving? I think the negotiations are continuing, but it's going to cost United 20% more than it would have done in July, and they deserve it, to be honest.
Completely, but it was a great lineup you did have. It was a very strong lineup. We'll go through the comments before I go on to mine, but before I do, is that a top 3 team for you?
I think it is. I think City are all at sea, just like last year. Mm-hmm. I think the squad as a whole is what pushes it into a yes, it is, rather than I think it is. But I definitely think this season we are more. The good news is we are more on par with City without the injury excuse. Mm-hmm. Now, if injuries come along because Taylor doesn't know his arse from his elbow and they've got a really bad physio, great. Well, not great. We don't wish it, but from a United perspective, great for the chances of getting into Champions League. But at the moment, if every single player stays fit for United, every single player stays fit for City, we're better. We're better.
We're a lot to ask for every single. I think even if we lost a player or two, depending on what area we're. If, for instance, we lost Nikita Paris on an injury, though that we still got goal wingers there, I wouldn't be too much of an issue. Whereas with City, if they even have one midfielder injured, they're done. That's the difference. We've got squad depth now, which Man City didn't have. What they don't have. So that's something we could say. Let's go through the comments. Question from Ravi: does Skinner really know how much quality he has in the squad? Yes, I think he does. And I think he knows that he's going to be under pressure with his final year of his contract.
I'm going to remind him every week. I'm just going to point in my watch. It's the final season without your option, my friend. No, I think most people are going to remind him if we have a start like we had last season. But we're going to remind him all in the next 6 months, I think.
Yeah. Good evening, Liam. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming into the chat. Hey there, Donna. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. You guys need to make Champions League next year. If not, you could be at risk of losing players like Leslie Russo. I agree with that, and I think Connor and Jackie will be gone as well, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't get Champions League next year, Marky Mark, darling. You're going to lose Russo. You're going to lose Honor. You are going to lose Jackie. You're probably going to lose Villa Reset anyway because of the comments that the national coach did about me about not being played. If you could argue that she's going to have to try and find a Champions League club, even if it's in Sweden or something random. And that's a lot of players to us. That's a couple of years of rebuilding. So it is Champions League or bust. As much as I would like to, and we might go on to this, be freezing my proverbial off in February, watching them lift the Conti Cup, which would be brilliant. It has to be Champions League. All roads lead to Champions League.
Yeah, 100%. Good evening to Niall. Ravi, Barca sees the team to join currently. Yep, them and Lyon are the best 2 teams in the world right now. Yeah. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Johnny said, as a Barca fan, I love to see us get Honor, but for you guys, you need to be opening the checkbook and give her what she wants. She's too talented to lose, especially on a free. You can't lose her on a free.
Well, that's what we're playing at. It's free next year, so if she signs, then it won't be a free. If not, then we lose her on a free. But
if she wanted to leave, she wouldn't extend, so we would lose her on a free.
It's an option, though. That's the thing. The club can exercise the option, and I think they've exercised the. I agree. It'd be stupid if she was adamant to leave to have to trap somebody for a year. So it does require them to be sort of bought into it. But yeah, I mean, I do wonder that whether or not we're just acting as a nursery for Barcelona when you think of Garcia and Honor. But we need Champions League. We just need I'd sell anybody to get Champions League. I'd sell my own mother to get Champions League. We need Champions League. We need Champions League.
Good evening, Jake. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming into the chat. Don't apologise about being late. It's good to see you. Tom, I'm 5'9" and I'm a defensive midfielder. Very nice. Yep, very nice.
Yes, technique. It was just referring to the technique, wasn't it? About how short players can work out. They just have to remember. They focus a little bit more in training when they get told how to jump. Whereas tall people, they can just sort of have a little go and still get there.
Exactly. Sporty Chat Bots is in the chat. Hey there, hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Line up for Sporty Chat Bots will be Mary Earps, Honor, Millie Turner, Tunkara. That's another option we haven't even mentioned.
Yeah, good point. Good point. With Tunkara, I don't really know her as well. I've seen her play twice for France.
Yeah.
But we had a few other things we were looking at. Again, it's hard to work out what she's been brought. But again, she's a top class player. Maybe she's going to be possibly the person keeping Millie Turner to the fire.
I wouldn't want Mannion to be dropped at no cost at all.
No, I agree, but she's injured till October. I'm just mean like at the moment. That's why I think.
I meant when she's fit, of course.
That's why I think that Maya Letizier's smashed it. Because I think they brought her in maybe as an idea of having her as a sub or comes on as a sub, and maybe have Tunkara because she's a starter for France. Has the main centre back with Millie Turner, but she's obviously blown Skinner away, and she's in such great form. She's now fighting for that position, which is what you want.
Sporty Chatbots has also said Adriana signing for United has definitely given her a confidence boost, 100%. Yeah. And the way she's played for Canada, she's been absolutely amazing. Yeah. You can't even fault her one bit. If they bleep up Russo's negotiations, we riot. We will be certainly rioting, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've spoke. Obviously, I said hello to and had a couple of words to the agent. Their agent is actually a brother, and very nice guy in more ways than one. But I can imagine when he went into the meeting after the Euros, he probably went, "Did you watch the game last night, lads? My numbers just tripled. Let's have a conversation." So it's probably taking a long time.
Exactly. Rather, I do think Russo will eventually leave. Possibly. Who knows? Donny said City got a new Japanese player. That's the one from West Ham. I've heard good things about her. But the quality of players they've lost is asking for a lot of the team. Man United is a lot strong talent and depth-wise. Exactly what I thought as well. And I think she is a great player, but with the play, I think the only midfielders got is like Laura Coombs, and none of them started for that Man City team. No one starts in that strong Man City team last season.
Yeah, we look at them as players, but you forget it's a job for them. And in the working world, if you are running away as fast as your legs can carry it to leave a job, because normally it's bad management. Normally it's bad culture. And if you listen to Stanway, who was there for a long time. She could have
Kira Walsh was there 8 years.
Yeah, Kira Walsh was brought on. Caroline Weir. There's an ongoing theme, isn't there, Gareth Taylor?
British players.
They could have said, if it was a good culture and it was just time to move on, the words you kind of hear was, did all right. Enjoyed our time there. Excited for the new challenge. Can't wait to play for Barcelona. In Walsh's case, Bayern Munich.
I don't know. It's out of subject, but I don't know if you've seen Kira Walsh's goodbye message, but it seemed a bit blunt. All she said was "Thank you, sitter." That's all she said. Like normally the right paragraph.
That's what I mean. It's like there's been certain periods of time, and I can say this because I'm honest on here. There's periods of time where when my dad used to annoy me, right? I used to look at birthday cards that were written in a certain way that made myself feel better. So it'll be like, so like you are the greatest, comma, and then dad. So I'm not actually saying the words "you are the greatest dad." And I think sometimes maybe what Walsh was saying was, thanks City, because by playing for you, I can now go to Barcelona. So maybe it was a bit of an interesting view on it.
Yeah, definitely. Good evening, Rich. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Rami's gone for a 3-1 win for United. Yeah, we'll go into the game as well this week. We got the preview on Wednesday.
Yep.
I'll go through my team now. It's basically similar to Andy's, but a different tweak. Mary Earps in goal, no question about it. Hannah Blundell on the left-hand side. However, I do think that she will be dropped for Maya Letitia. Once we do have our centre backs available of Mannion. Millie Turner stays where she is. I just think knowing that she's the OG, she's always been there. She's a very consistent player. She keeps her place. Honor, no word really to describe Honor. And the reason why I put on the right hand side is because I think she works better on the right. And I think with Leon, who's going to be on the right hand side as well, where she comes off as a substitute, Lucia Garcia comes on the right. They have that link up play. That's why I put Honor on the right for me. I want to see link up plays there of Lucia Garcia and Honor. I think that she'll be used more as a substitute Lucia Garcia as well, just because she looks electric coming off the bench. I think it's the same pivot of Jackie and Katie Zellu. Katie Zellu got used a lot of the defensive midfielder. They don't really seem to drop the captain. She and the thing is now she's assisted for England in that Luxembourg game. So
yeah, that's true. It was Luxembourg though, but no, I know. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, she assisted in that game as a substitute, so I think that she may even have confidence coming in. But it's interesting you mentioned Jackie. She hadn't scored a goal yet for Man United. The thing is though with Jackie, which I don't think, if you was a football fan just watching the men's football and you had a midfielder who don't score goals, they wouldn't be appreciated. But Jackie's one of them who holds possession, keeps possession, brings the ball forward. And because of that kind of quality, she's not gonna get the goals. And I think if you was a men's football fan and you look, for instance, at Fred, I'm just gonna make comparisons here. You look at Fred, oh, he don't score goals, he's crap. Do you get what I mean? But they don't look at the overall play. They don't use the eyes and say, look what he's doing here on the pitch. He's the system, and that's what Jackie is. Jackie's the system in the team. She makes the team click. But the thing is with Jackie, because she's an 8, I don't think she suits the formation of that 4-2-3-1, what Matt Skinner seems to love. I think she's be better being used in the 4-3-3. But if that means in the 4-3-3, it could be Zelen being dropped, which I highly doubt, and Tooney drops back to an 8, and then Hayley Legg comes in. Because when you play as a 4-3-3, you need a natural CDM there.
Yeah, and you know, I've always said every time I talk about these things that I have a bias towards goals. I would look, you know, my best game. You know, you can watch some great, really tight pressure 1-0 wins, or you can have like a 4-3 win. And I always lean towards the 4-3. I just love attacking football, so I am gonna overlook. You know, I am gonna overlook that. I mean, when did Jackie come in? 2018 was it? I know that 2020, wasn't it? No,
Jackie Groningen came to Man United in 2019.
Yeah, I'm just looking because I'm not a men's fan, as you know, and I know the men play a lot more games, but Fred's actually has scored 6 goals for Man United.
In his whole career, that's not really a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot, really.
No, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, obviously.
And he gets in a pivot just like Jackie. That's why, because he plays a bit more like Jackie. He's a central midfielder, a box-to-box midfielder like Jackie. But the pivot turns a central midfielder into a CDM, so they're playing out of position. That's the only reason why I compared Fred, not because of.
I agree with you. I'm not trying to shoot an argument. I'm just sort of posing the question that, and maybe it's just psychological for the fans. You know, what's the difference between 0 and 1? Maybe if she scored 1 goal, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It's just a weird quirk. You know, like.
I really think it is that formation.
You know, next time we get a penalty, I'd get to take a penalty, just get it out of the way. I know it doesn't really count as such,
But how do we know that she'd be good at a penalty? We've not seen her.
Holland. Well, she don't take for Holland, but she scores for Holland, doesn't she? Maybe we just need to go back to the orange kit idea that we had for an away.
Leah Golden for me keeps a place in the squad. I know she's not played during the Euros, but I think she's our best winger. She's been consistent. I know she had been out of form at one point, but I still think the way she cuts in, the way she likes to, how can I say, like, play mind tricks with the opposition in terms of I'm going here or we're going here. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, she likes to cut in. She likes to play a little bit around with the oppositions, and I think that's what we need. We don't. I don't see that as much with other wingers. What we've got in terms of Lyon. And I don't see that as much with Nikita Paris. I think they both rather shoot from long distance than cut in and assist.
Do you think that Garcia is close to? I know you obviously, as I said, I put him very, very close. Almost you can't split and flip a coin. What's your view on Garcia and Galton? Do you think Galton just pips her out? Is Miles better than Garcia? What do you think the link is there?
I think for me, they're both quite similar in how they play, but the difference is though that Leah Galton has more experience in the game, and that's what tips Leah Galton off that tiny bit more compared to Lucia Garcia. And I don't know if it's ever been used, but we all know that Leah Galton's versatile. She's played as a fullback before, out of position, and it's worked. And the thing is, could she ever play as a false nine for you, where Russo is? But because the thing is, when I've watched Lucia Garcia, it's like wings only. She can't play as where Russo is. We've seen in the Euros, it didn't work.
Yeah, and it's possible, I suppose, that like we're seeing Honor now. I mean, I have to look back at the tape for the last couple of years, but you know, you see Honor now as a superstar. When she first came, she was good, but she wasn't as good as she is now. It's possible that Garcia's one for a couple more seasons down the line, isn't it? To be really on top form.
Exactly. I'm not too fussed about rushing her into the squad just because who we've got. So I'd rather have her as a super sub because we need an equally as strong bench as we have at the starting 11. But Tuna keeps a place. I think for me though, she's one of them where she's overworked, but if we don't play her, you're losing that bit of spark. That's the only problem.
Who's a replacement?
Vilda Borisa.
Yeah, she's another confidence player who's got low confidence at the moment, and Skinner's not exactly the guy to build your confidence up, is he?
I just don't think she suits Skinner.
Yeah.
It's one of them, if you don't suit the manager, you're not going to be using.
Well, it's two sides of the same coin. We're possibly going to arguably benefit from the other side of that coin. Paris didn't suit Jonas at Arsenal, and now we're going to get probably a better player than what we paid for. Whereas obviously the other side of that coin is a really great player might not do so well if they don't gel with the manager, and that might be the situation.
I think Lyon comes into the lineup just because I think Lyon had an outstanding pre-season. She's got the the WSL experience as well, so I'd rather have someone who's got WSL experience, high in confidence. She's got winning mentality. She's won the Olympics. Who could you look on there and go, I've got a gold medal there on the Olympics? Do you get what I mean? It's that nice little bit of sentimental touch. And Russo, she's got a start. She's our best striker. She is. Sorry about Thomas, but she is.
No, she is. By a mile. It's funny, I don't know what your thoughts are now. We've gone through both the squads, but what I thought was quite interesting where I sat down and worked it out is how almost with a couple of exceptions, we discussed Galton and Garcia on one side, and obviously with the defense when Manu comes back. It's pretty much it's weird. It's like it's always been where we almost can name our top 11 if everybody's fit. But we've also got a lot more depth and competition at the same time. It's weird, isn't it?
It's weird because you look and go, this is a test for Matt Skinner, a way of how to get to Champions League football and to get to cups. How is he going to use the right ingredients to get the best team?
Yeah, no, completely. And obviously for cups and stuff, that's when you start bringing in
you do your rotation until, for me...
you
get to knockout.
Yeah, and I think one of the questions in the comments was who's on number 2? Well, Sophie Bagley at the moment. Arguably, Rambo is on loan at the minute with Everton, so will become or Ravi, sorry, but will become our on number 2 maybe next season. But currently, it's Bagley.
Yeah, Bagley at the moment. Will Man United control the game for most of it? Yeah, we will. We'll go into more detail anyway when it comes to the preview.
Yeah.
Andrew, good evening. Hope you are well. First game is on Saturday, early kickoff against Reading. We'll be doing a preview for that on Wednesday. Jake, got to have Lad in the middle. We need many Welshes as possible. We love Hayley Ladd. We love her, but I just don't think Matt will use her as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because we discuss in other areas about how clubs start becoming little embassies, don't they? It's like in the men's game now with United, apparently you lot are buying every Dutch player you can think of, and they start having like colonies of players, loads of Dutch players, loads of Brazilian players, loads of Portuguese, they sort of come together. And obviously with Wales, you've got Ladd, but you've also got Carrie Jones, which is obviously currently
He's on loan.
And all right, quite a few seasons away, but really impressively, and is currently in the squad for Wales, is Safi Middleton Patel, the reserve the goalkeeper for the academy at the moment. Which at the level that she's at is pretty damn impressive, and she could develop into a pretty strong contender in a couple of years.
Ravi, what time do you think would be right to make a sub in a game? Personally, for me, between 60 and 70 minutes. But that's one thing Matt's going to need to work on. Substitutes. He uses his first substitute on the 80th minute. You can't do that. And then you put Fuso, who's now alone, on the 89th minute. What are you going to do in 1 minute, Fuso? Come on.
I forget what game it was, but there's one game where literally Fuso didn't even get on. She was on the edge and on the sideline, and it was the end of the game. That was it. That should never happen. Like, that's just like basic bread and butter stuff, really. At least Fuso's in Bayer Leverkusen, so Skinner can't do his little trick. I think it depends on the game. Obviously, I should say City 70th minute is always a good idea. I
think it depends where we are, because if, for example, we was 2-0 down at halftime, we need a substitute at halftime. But if, for instance, we're comfortably winning by 3-0, 60th or 70th minute, make a sub. Why not make a sub eventually of who you wouldn't really use, like on the 80th minute if we're comfortably winning 6-0? Put Grace Clinton on. Give him a bit of a run.
Yeah, and the thing is as well about Skinner, and I wonder if this is going to change now. He says it's his squad. I always used to say that he used to resist substitutes because he saw it as somebody saying that his original starting 11 was wrong, or he's made too many mistakes previously. And I think now, the modern game, it is the team of, it is the squad game. It is not just the 11 on the field. It's a 5 or 6 on the bench, that wins the game. It isn't a situation where, you have maybe a sub if somebody's injured, but in reality, you're 11. Modern football isn't like that. Look at how for the pandemic, in the men's and in the women's, they brought in the 5 subs, and 5 subs originally felt like, well, it's not a friendly. We're not going to be 5 subs. Who the hell? How are you going to do 5 subs? Now, most games, it's 5 subs that get used either in the 3 and the 2 and the 1 or whatever. And, and it's just the way it is. And that's the way the game is moving. And the interesting thing about that is that could start, this is just a by point, that could start elongating people's careers. You got more subs, you got more chance just to have a little bit at the end. Jaquan Matters, I know he's gone on to Galatasaray, but the older players,
or even the younger ones.
Yeah, both sides are the same thing. The younger ones giving them a few minutes without much risk to the team. The older ones still out, like Jill Scott came on for England right at the end before she, before she retired in the Euros, to have those few minutes. 5 subs, is the way it is. And, we haven't gone into it tonight because nobody really knows why he's done it. But Jade Moore and Rachel Williams, where do they fit in? I don't even know. I don't even know what position she plays in. Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what position Jade Moore and Rachel Williams play.
Jade Moore's supposed to be playing as a defensive midfielder, but how is she going to fit in? That's my biggest question. Where does Jade Moore fit in? We watched her in pre-season. I was not impressed whatsoever with Jade Moore.
Can you tell Chloe's not here?
Yeah, I can tell, but I just, as much as she's the experience you want in the squad, I don't know where she fits.
The thing is, she's a fixer-upper, right? She's literally you read about people that buy a house that's ready to move into, and you buy a house that's got like holes in it. But then if you put the right sort of focus in it, it then becomes a top class thing, and you make your money back. That's possibly it. I've never known. I mean, you've watched the men's game, obviously. I don't. But you watch football a lot longer than me. Have you ever known anybody get transferred injured? Number one, and number two, then become a top class player that plays a lot.
I'm surprised she got into Man United, knowing she was still injured when she come.
I get it if you've got a bit of a thigh strain, it's a bit random, a couple of weeks, but you know roughly what the situation is.
It was half a season.
She has some long-term injury, and I don't know. Could you think of an example of a men's player that's come in injured, full stop? For a longer. It just doesn't happen, does it?
The only one, there's a player in the Man United team who gets injured a lot, Eric Bayer. And Eric Bayer hasn't started in a competition, a Manchester United competitive game since the end of last year, probably.
Right. Yeah.
That's how, because he's one of them where if he plays 2 straight games, he's injured. Yeah. And he's out for ages.
Yeah. I'm not saying she's like that, and I know we joke because I know Chloe's a big fan, has met the player and such like, but I just can't see it. No one's going to be happier, just like with Leon. No one's going to be happier if she comes in and bosses it, but I don't see where she fits. And Rachel Williams,
she's there for sentimental value.
Yeah. She's like, I remember when I was at Birmingham, I had that really nice vase I used to like.
I will tell you my strikers in order: Russo, Thomas, Leon, Nikita Paris, Rachel Williams. Actually, Ella Toon as a false 9, then Rachel Williams.
Yeah, it's like Skinner was there thinking in Birmingham. Oh, you know what? I really miss that pretty plant we used to have on the front desk. I used to look at it all the time when I was in my office. I know. I'll just ring Birmingham and see if they've still got it, and I'll buy it to put in my office in Manchester. Mm-hmm. She is essentially Mark Skinner's emotional support animal. But I don't know. Maybe we needed some plastering to do. I don't know.
Before we wrap up, I'd always said Champions League a bust. If, for instance, we won a cup, but we finished 4th, is that a bad season?
It has to be, because after the season we lose 5 players, or we lose 4 players. I think it's
so we need this Champions League for the sake of the players and the sake of going forward, because we keep finishing 4th.
Imagine this, right? I'm the agent, right? You play sort of Jackie. They go, right, Leon's on the line. They want you to go the Leon next season. And she goes, actually, you know what? No, because I got a Conti Cup winners medal in February. So I'd rather spend another year at United. Like, it's not going to happen. It has to be Champions League. Because, I mean, it's funny though, isn't it? Because Champions League was a be-all and end-all, but then City fall flat on the face and not qualified 2 years in a row. So, it's Champions League now, because if we get Champions League the next season, not only do we have a chance to get to get qualified, which is what you want to be. You don't want to get through to it and get spanked. But we're going to have to really damn quickly in July. And remember, there'll be a World Cup on, though it does start slightly later in July. We're going to have to get some new players in quickly, because as I think Football Power has mentioned there, more revenue as well later on with Champions League.
Exactly.
We're going to have to. None of this kind of messing around, let me think about our existence and come back to me in the middle of August. We're going to have to make some big signings early on, because we're going to have to go qualify for Champions League. Because, I mean, as much as I like to get excited, I don't know if we'd ever get second or first, obviously.
No, I can't see it
For
unless
the
there's
next couple of,
serious injuries on
for
both
the next
Chelsea and Arsenal.
yeah, for the next couple of years. And because these lot, if you can't do anything, yourself, do it yourself. Because these lot have been so terrible in the Champions League the last few years, Chelsea, Arsenal, and City. As far as we can tell, that we've lost our coefficient. So next year, every single winner, second and third, has to qualify. But the winner gets through to the second round of qualification rather than the first. So we need, England, there you go, the patriotic reason. England needs us in the Champions League because we need to push the coefficient back up so we get some guaranteed places.
Yeah, I completely agree. And hey there, Football Power Hour, it's Champions League a bust. I completely agree with that. But Andy, thanks for coming on. It's been a great show.
Yeah, I know I wouldn't have a problem talking for an hour.
No, we certainly wouldn't. But
No, it's great. It's been great to go into detail, obviously, a bit more about the squads, obviously, to touch on the Champions League. As you say, we're going to do something later in the week, which will focus more on Reading and the first couple of games in, isn't it? So that'll be one to look at.
Definitely. Would you like to shout out your socials as well?
Yeah, still just I keep reminding personal Twitter account, but it's at AJO_87. And yeah, you'll find me. Well, yeah, the United talk's coming back in again on Twitter now. It's the season starting to begin.
Yeah. I'll be next live at 9:00. I'll be doing a sporting preview with Tom, so go and check that out. Got some few things coming on in the week. Leeds is cancelled, so I won't be doing that. Me and Andy will be doing a Reading preview. I've got my prediction show with John, so go and check it all out. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.